Did you know that in just a few minutes, a healthy heart can suddenly stop beating and take a person's life away? Imagine this. You were talking and laughing with your children and grandchildren, and in the very next moment, your body collapses because your heart is no longer pumping blood. Is there anything more terrifying than leaving this world so suddenly without even having the chance to say goodbye? The danger here is that many people confuse cardiac arrest, heart attack, and heart failure. These three conditions may sound similar, but in reality, they are completely different in their causes, progression, and treatment. If you cannot tell them apart, could you miss your chance of survival when every minute counts in an emergency? Before we go deeper into each condition, I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, if tomorrow I or one of my loved ones suddenly faced a heart crisis, would I truly know how to recognize it and what to do? If your answer is no, then this video is exactly for you. And if you think today's topic is important, go ahead and click the subscribe button, hit like, and type 1 in the comments if you want to start preventing heart disease early, or 0 if you feel you don't need to worry just yet. What do you think? Could a single click help you gain knowledge that might one day save your life? In the next few minutes, I will show you the differences between cardiac arrest, heart attack, and heart failure. But here's the surprising part. Of these three conditions, one of them can cause death in just 3 minutes if no one provides emergency help in time. Can you guess which one it is?
Cardiac arrest. Can you believe there is a kind of silent death that happens right inside the chest? No warning, no pain, just a sudden collapse, and it's all over? That is what we call sudden cardiac arrest. Do you realize that your heart, which has been beating tirelessly your entire life, can shut down in an instant? Cardiac arrest happens when the two main pumping chambers of the heart, the ventricles, suddenly stop working. Instead of contracting rhythmically like a strong, healthy pump, sometimes the ventricles fall into complete standstill, known as asystole. Even more dangerous is when they start quivering chaotically, like a bag of wriggling worms. That is ventricular fibrillation. At that moment, blood is no longer pumped throughout the body. Think about it. If the brain goes without blood for just 3 minutes, what will happen? Cardiac arrest is the leading cause of sudden death, especially in older adults with underlying heart disease. But here's the critical point. If someone nearby knows how to perform CPR right on the spot, the chance of survival can double or even triple. Have you ever asked yourself, if the person collapsing were your husband, your wife, or even yourself, would there be anyone around calm enough and prepared enough to save a life? Don't forget, the heart can be restarted, but only if action is taken within the golden window of the first few minutes. Sounds frightening, doesn't it? Yet this is only one of the three conditions that are so often confused. So what about a heart attack, the silent killer caused by atherosclerotic plaque? Why is it completely different from cardiac arrest?
Heart attack. Have you ever heard someone say, he had a cardiac arrest, when in reality, it was a heart attack? Many people confuse the two, but in fact, they are completely different conditions. Cardiac arrest is when the heart stops beating. A heart attack, on the other hand, is more like a severe blood famine happening right inside the heart. So what is the truth behind this so-called heart attack? Inside the coronary arteries, the pathways that carry blood to nourish the heart, there are often plaques of atherosclerosis, like clumps of cholesterol trash sticking inside a water pipe. At first, they may be small and cause no symptoms. But one day, the fragile cap covering the plaque tears. Cholesterol and debris spill into the artery, triggering a blood clot. Can you picture what happens when the entire blood pathway is suddenly blocked? I recall Mrs. Linda, 66 years old, from California. One morning, she felt chest tightness, broke out in a sweat, and had difficulty breathing. But she thought it was just indigestion and tried to lie down and rest. An hour later, the pain grew so severe she could not move. When she finally reached the hospital, the doctor announced that one of her coronary arteries was completely blocked and part of her heart muscle was already dying. Luckily, the doctor was able to reopen the artery with a balloon procedure just in time. But had it been delayed by even 30 minutes, her heart might never have recovered. Do you see how just a few minutes delay can turn a healthy heart into one permanently weakened for life? A heart attack not only kills part of the heart muscle, but it can also lead to arrhythmias, heart failure, or even cardiac arrest. So you may be wondering, how can you avoid finding yourself in such danger like Mrs. Linda? The answer truly begins with simple steps: controlling blood pressure, lowering cholesterol, eating a healthy diet, and never ignoring unusual chest pain. But did you know that even if you survive cardiac arrest or heart attack, your heart can still fall into a silent, chronic condition that slowly drains your strength, leaving you tired, breathless, and swollen day and night? That condition is heart failure, the disease that eats away at life day after day. Would you like to know why heart failure is just as dangerous and even easier to overlook than the other two? Heart failure. Have you ever felt short of breath after just a few steps, as if a heavy weight were pressing down on your chest while your legs swelled up like you were carrying 2 sandbags? That may not simply be a sign of aging, it could be your body's warning of heart failure. But why does the heart, a tireless organ that has been working non-stop for decades, gradually grow weaker like this? Unlike the sudden onset of cardiac arrest or the explosive nature of a heart attack, heart failure is a silent enemy. It happens when one side of the heart, either the left or the right, can no longer pump blood effectively. When the left side weakens, blood backs up into the lungs, causing shortness of breath, chronic coughing, and a lack of oxygen in the body. When the right side fails, blood pools in the body, leading to swelling in the legs and abdomen. Can you imagine how just one tired heart can leave the entire body exhausted day after day? I once met Mr. Robert, a 72-year-old from Florida. He was a former soldier, long accustomed to discipline and endurance. But in recent years, he often felt drained and had to sleep sitting up because he couldn't breathe lying down. At first, he thought it was simply old age, but then one day, his legs swelled so badly he could no longer fit into his old shoes. When he went to the doctor, the diagnosis was chronic heart failure. Mr. Robert told me, "I could fight enemies on the battlefield, but I don't know how to fight against my own heart." Have you ever felt like Mr. Robert, silently suffering without realizing it was a disease? Heart failure doesn't just lower quality of life, it also slows down blood circulation, making it easier for dangerous clots to form. These clots can travel to the brain and cause a stroke, or to the lungs and cause a pulmonary embolism. Can you picture how just one small blood clot could turn a person walking normally into someone paralyzed on one side? The important thing to remember is that heart failure does not appear overnight. It progresses little by little. But if it is detected early, you can absolutely manage it with medication, a low-salt diet, light exercise, and regular checkups. The question is, will you wait until your heart cries out with severe shortness of breath before you act, or will you take control starting today? But if all 3 conditions, cardiac arrest, heart attack, and heart failure, are so dangerous, is there a path to early prevention, a way to reduce the risk of sudden death and keep your heart healthy for the long term? After hearing about these 3 life-threatening conditions, cardiac arrest, heart attack, and heart failure, you are probably asking yourself, so what must I do to keep my heart from falling into that situation? The real answer is not as complicated as you might think. The heart can weaken, but it can also be nourished and protected every single day through small habits. Do you believe that just a few simple changes could lower your risk of heart disease by up to 80%? First, let's start with diet. Imagine your arteries as water pipes. If every day you pour in bad fats, salt, and sugar, it's like stuffing those pipes full of garbage. But if you add vegetables, fruits, fatty fish, and whole grains, you are cleaning and keeping those pipes clear. Do you think tonight's dinner will be a medicine or a poison for your heart? Second, light physical activity is the free medicine that everyone can use. You don't need heavy gym workouts, just a 30-minute walk each day, some gentle Tai Chi, or simply playing with your grandchildren. What matters is not how long you exercise, but whether you keep it consistent. Have you given your heart its chance to move today? Third, never skip regular checkups. Many people think they're healthy, so they don't need to see a doctor. But in reality, heart disease often progresses silently. A single blood pressure check or a cholesterol test can serve as an early alarm bell that helps you avoid a sudden heart attack. Are you willing to spend just 1 hour a year in exchange for decades of healthier living? Finally, don't ever ignore the signals from your body: chest pain, shortness of breath, unusual fatigue. These are not just normal signs of aging, they may be your heart's cry for help. Will you listen, or will you brush them aside? The wonderful truth is that you can absolutely prevent and manage heart disease starting today. But the question is, how can you turn the fear of illness into the motivation to live well, live healthy, and live happily with your family? You see, our hearts can stop beating at any moment, can be choked by a blood clot, or can silently weaken day after day. Yet at the same time, the heart is a miraculous organ, always capable of healing if we care for it properly. So the bigger question is, will you choose to live waiting for disease, or will you take charge and protect your heart starting today? Remember, cardiac arrest can kill you in just a few minutes. A heart attack can leave permanent scars, and heart failure can rob you of life's daily joys. But with simple lifestyle changes, healthy eating, regular activity, and routine checkups, you can significantly reduce those risks. Do you believe that old age can still be strong, active, and full of hope? I want you to imagine this. 5 years from now, you are still able to take walks with your grandchildren, still able to drive yourself to visit friends, still able to enjoy every delicious meal without the fear of a sudden heart attack. How meaningful would that life be? You can absolutely make that vision a reality as long as you start today. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more knowledge on protecting your health. And I'd like you to comment below. What change will you choose to make today to protect your heart? Because your heart deserves to stay healthy, and because you deserve many more years of happiness with your family. Will your heart cry out in pain, or will you let it sing with a strong, steady rhythm every day? The decision is in your hands.